Call this meeting of the Reach Fork School District 105 to order. We apologize for running a little over. We thank you for your patience. Welcome, everybody. We have a quorum. Only one member missing tonight. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any changes to the agenda?
You have a revised agenda. And that's the agenda for the evening.
Members, any changes we might need to add or? Okay, the best part of the evening, besides all the Valentine's candy we probably already eaten, is the accolades.
Yes. So we have our superintendent awards for the month of February, and these are kind of a big deal because teachers only get one opportunity all year long. They only get to pick one student in that opportunity to be recognized. So the fact that we have students here being recognized for these awards is already significant because of the limited ability of these to be handed out. We have 4 students tonight. And so we'll start with Mr. Watts. And I didn't scan the room quick enough. Yeah, Mr. Watts, and he brought Odin Buckland with him. And I'll get some signatures as you can copy the letter. Yep.
Well, Dad couldn't be here tonight, but we're still going to address it as maybe here. So, yes, you look, how far up?
24 miles.
24 miles up Smith River. So take that into consideration when you think about being on time for school every day, right? It's a good young man. So, dear Michael and Teresa, it is with honor I present to you my Superintendent Award winner for the academic year 2023-24. So, Ms. Buckland. I've had the opportunity of observing Odin over the last 2 years in the classroom, on the track, and in the community. He undoubtedly is one of the most mature and respectful young men I've been around the last several years. This year, Odin has been in my weight training class, and I believe he's only missed a few days since August. He shows up every day with a smile, ready to work. Odin leads the class every day in stretching and warm-ups, and he's the first to lend a hand when other students need help, and is always willing to clean up at the end of class. As a teacher and as a coach, you expect your student athletes to show up for school on time, be respectful, and do the work. Odin goes up and beyond that every day. I've yet to hear anyone say a negative thing about your character, so thank you. This tells me you're doing the right thing, and your relationships with your friends, your family, teachers, coaches, people within the community are healthy and thriving. Your goals after high school are to work for Coos Forest Protection Association and then move on to the trade school for Peterson Cat and becoming a service mechanic. Odin, I respect you as a student, as an athlete, and as a young man. I know you'll be successful with whatever you choose. And if along the way you need a hand, I know that anybody that knows you will be there for you as well as the Watts family. You live your life with integrity and you lead by example. The students all see how you handle your business every day. And there's a reason why they follow your lead. So thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, if it's good weather, we'll do some more
Virtual.
Okay, sounds good.
While you have access to them. Next, we have Carol Colton, and she's brought Madison Bryan. Maddie? You can have this letter after this.
Yes.
First.
Okay. To the parents of and family of Madison Bryan, I'm thrilled to inform you that Madison has been selected as the recipient of the Superintendent's Award for the month of February. This prestigious award recognizes Madison's outstanding achievements and contributions to our school community. Madison, since I first met you in 7th grade, it has been a pleasure to witness your growth into a young adult. Your dedication, kindness, and determination have set you apart from your peers. I can always count on Madison to help other students in art class, either with their projects or helping students navigate the school building. Whether it is through your involvement in the Head Start program or your work in the art classroom, you consistently show kindness and compassion. Madison spent her summer working with the Head Start program. This school year, she is continuing her work as a cadet teacher in the Head Start classroom. Madison helps the preschool age students during choice time, story time, and outside time. Another job for Madison was working in the community garden, pulling weeds, watering, and shopping for plants. Vegetables and flowers were later harvested for families in need. Madison represents the best in our school community. As a caring and compassionate individual, Madison completed her community service hours for graduation by working at the local animal shelter. Madison devoted her time twice a week for the past 2 years. She was responsible for cleaning kennels, feeding, and exercising dogs at the shelter. Awesome. Not only are you an artist who produces quality, thoughtful work, but you are a kind, responsible, and helpful student in the class and in our community. Your maturity, kindness, and sense of responsibility make you an excellent role model for your peers. I have no doubt that you will continue to achieve great things in your final year of high school and beyond. Madison hopes to work with young children or animals in the future. On behalf of the entire school community, I congratulate you on this well-deserved recognition. Your dedication and hard work have not gone unnoticed. It's awesome to see you outside with the kids. That's so fun. I am excited to see what the future holds for you. Congratulations on being awarded the Superintendent's Award for the month of February. Keep up the excellent work. Yes, that's awesome.
Next up, we have Mr. Molly has brought the student Trinity Lyon. You here? Trinity. You have copies of those, Mr. Molly?
I
You have a copy of this letter, so you can follow along and see all these things Mr. Molly has. Thanks.
And like to start with giving a shout out to little brother. Every day we see little brother in the hallway, it's, "Hi, Mr. Molly, say hi to Trinity for me." All right. Dear parents and guardians of Trinity Lyon, this has been my second year as Trinity's teacher, and it has been a joy through and through. Trinity has a drive unmatched by any of the other students I have had the pleasure to teach. Her desire to learn pushes her into asking excellent questions that sometimes even challenge me. She is wise beyond her years, demonstrating unparalleled maturity amongst her peers. On several occasions, she gleefully comes up to me with her work completed and always asks for more. Her work ethic is only matched by her humor and timing, causing many a belly laugh. Trinity always demonstrates excellent leadership qualities. Chief amongst them is her caring nature. I have never heard a discouraging word pass her lips, and more often than not, her infectious, bubbly personality uplifts her friends. Trinity can always be relied on to help other students in any way she can. Be it showing new students around the school, helping students with their classwork, or having an extra pencil and paper. In my 2 years working with Trinity, I have never seen her express displeasure or anger with another student. She is the rock of our classroom, and despite the rough seas around her, she is never wavering, the model of consistency. Her excellence is not contained solely in our classroom. Trinity is also a participant in several school-organized sports, including cross-country, track and field, and archery. Her dedication to these activities do not go unnoticed by her coaches, who have nothing but praise for her drive and work ethic. In cross-country, she was only one of 2 6th-grade students on the whole team. And in archery, she was amongst those who went with our team to national championships in Utah. Her competitive drive and sportsmanship would be welcome on any team she would be a part of. When I came into this district as an in-building substitute, I can distinctly recall being in Miss Wright's class. In this class, I can remember a meek young lady timidly raising her hand and speaking so softly I would have to cross the room to hear her. In those 2 years, I have seen her confidence blossom from painfully shy to outgoing and gregarious. It brings me excitement to see her personality shine. She is an amazing friend and equally devoted to her education. Throughout my time with Trinity, she has displayed an inspiring drive and dedication to her educational pursuits. She provides great leadership and friendship skills in my class, and overall adds an exponentially to our classroom community. Her athletic interests only further her dedication to excellence. Her growth amongst her peers is nearly unmeasured, and she continues to surprise me with the things she is capable of. I am proud to say that I have been a part of what is sure to be an inspiring educational journey. There are no limits to her potential.
And our final recipient of the evening, Mrs. Villegas has brought with her Olivia Calderon. Mrs. Villegas is done. Okay.
To the parents of Olivia Calderon, it is my pleasure to select Olivia for the February 2024 Superintendent Award. I have had the pleasure of getting to know Olivia during her 3rd grade year. Olivia is a class role model. She is always helpful, kind, and welcoming. Olivia's behavior sets an example for others and makes her a role model for her peers by consistently demonstrating positive actions and attitudes. Olivia is always offering assistance to her classmates and teachers, whether it's helping with schoolwork, organizing materials, or supporting others emotionally. Her willingness to help makes a difference in our class. Olivia is always welcoming to new students in our class. She always offers her friendship and shows them around and helps them feel comfortable in their new environment. Olivia's positive qualities contribute to creating a supportive and welcoming school environment. Keep up the fantastic work, and thank you for making a positive impact for those around you.
Can I get a quick photo op of the 4 teachers and their students up here, please? We'll use that for our website. So I get one more time up. And of course, families, if you want to snap a photo real quick, have a great time.
Short people maybe in the front.
Yeah, Joe.
Right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, no, you should get in there. You need to get in there. Okay. 1, 2,
I'll let
3.
moms take their pictures. Cheese. Okay, now I'm gonna make you smile again. Okay. Everybody say cheese or Snickers or whatever makes you smile. There you go. There are fresh cookies made by our food service and water out in the lobby for you when you.
One thing I try to do, as people are finding seats real quick, I try to catch a theme. And tonight I heard caring, I heard respectful, I heard good friends. And I like that. The qualities that embody what a Reed Sports student is are standing out here tonight when we hear the kinds of messages that are being used to describe these students. Real quickly, our board members are modeling for us. They've got some t-shirts on, and you guys, I don't normally pull this part out, but on the front of all their shirts, they have "Be Kind." And that's been a theme of all of the superintendent awards up to this point. I heard it in Olivia's tonight. She's kind, and I'm sure everybody is, but so much it motivated me that for staff appreciation, we're going to have these shirts made with our "Be Kind" reminder. And when we have staff appreciation, they're all going to be getting that shirt. On the back, one of you wants to support a model for me. Of course, we have to also be brave. So we have "Be Kind, Be Brave" theme this year, and that came out of our superintendent awards because that is just a consistent attribute that we've seen throughout the year. So thank you, parents, families, for everything you do to make your children who they are for us so we can work with them.
And thank you, students.
Thank you, guys. Good job.
Like Sharman said, you're more than welcome to help yourself with the cookies and stuff out in the lobby. If you'd like to stay for the rest of the meeting, that would be fine also. We'd love to have you. It's going to be a long meeting, just warning you.
We appreciate what you do. Thank you.
You had good cookies, didn't you?
For reading behind her.
Also, under accolades to that board, we received a couple of donations. Patricia Horning donated shop tools from her estate sale, and this was one of the shop tools. We received those valued at $500. We have one of our teachers, Jen Wright, who donated an Ironman stair stepper, a value of $800. So, and those are in your packet. And we appreciate people helping out our school district.
Stair stepper must what help the cross country team become district champions.
Yeah. Somebody's using it.
Yeah.
And that is our accolades.
Okay. We'll move on to community comments. Under community comments, you'll have 3 minutes to speak, and you may address the board on a topic not on the agenda, as long as it doesn't pertain to a student or a staff member.
We have one, Ricky McNew has community comment.
Okay,
I was informed that I could come today and have an executive meeting regarding my student, and so I'm requesting that I'm able to do that.
You just add her to executive
yeah,
session.
okay, add you, is it all right if we add you to the executive session at the end of this meeting?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other community comments, sir?
No, I have one.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll close the special meeting of the Charter School Board and move on to reports.
Paul Peterson from our South Coast ESD is here, and you brought a board member with you, right? I'll let you go ahead and share what you're interested in.
All right. Thank you, Superintendent Zlepke and members of the board. My name is Paul Peterson, Superintendent of South Coast ESD, and with me is our board chair, John Buckley. Hey, John. I just got, before I start, thanks for doing those accolades. I go to a lot of school district board meetings, and that's so well done, and I just can't help. I just love that portion of your agenda. So, Reach Sport kids are awesome. But anyways, I'm here on behalf of the Board of Directors of South Coast ESD. I want to thank you for inviting me to join this evening. We're here to provide a brief description of the local service plan process and answer your questions regarding the local service plan, which is on your agenda tonight. As an overview, every year the local service plan, or LSP, is reviewed and approved by the regional superintendents, then the ESD board, then the boards of each of the 10 school districts within South Coast ESD service area, which ranges from here in the north to Brookings all the way to the south. The local service plan on your agenda tonight is unchanged from the LSP you approved last year. The plan was reviewed by the 10 area superintendents. They voted to approve it on December 14th, and the South Coast ESD board directors also voted unanimously to approve it at their December meeting. This LSP is designed to provide the maximum flexibility to each of our districts and how they want to use their ESD resolution dollars. That each district chooses from a menu of services what they need from the ESD, and we call those tier 2 services. Altogether, tier 2 services comprise about 95% of the ESD's resolution dollars, with just about 5% in tier 1, or what we sometimes call core services. Those benefit all 10 districts, and those tier 1 or core services include homeschool registration, audiology testing, birth to 3 evaluations, and the state schools program. South Coast ESD is proud to partner with Reed Sports schools to help deliver the highest quality program and services for kids in a cost-effective manner, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the local service plan or the process.
Oh, does this need to be an action item?
It should be an action item, yes, yeah.
We need to have that as an action item. I just caught that. So it looks like H. And adjustment in the middle of the meeting to add action item H if that's the direction that you're going.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Yes, you did. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Very good. Okay. Next report will be Dr. Shima Takahara, right? Senior.
So, my name is Stephen Shima Takahara. I've been a ear, nose, and throat, head, and neck surgeon in Coos Bay at North Bend Medical Center and Bay Area Hospital for the last 31 years. And for the last 5 years, I've led a volunteer group called Growing Together. And our mission is to encourage kids to grow small box gardens and grow vegetables such that they might be more inclined to eat more vegetables. And we believe that this is an essential part of life in this country. We have incredibly, huge health problems. For instance, the major killers in our society are cardiovascular disease and cancer. And a lot of studies would indicate that plant-based diet has a major effect upon these diseases. So you've heard of the Mediterranean diets, and some of those studies indicated that we could reduce cardiovascular disease by 70% on a plant-based diet. And yet, Americans are notoriously, poor in eating vegetables. So only 10% of Americans eat the recommended diet of fruits and vegetables by the CDC. 93% of kids do not eat the recommended daily allotments of vegetables. And there was a recent CDC study that indicated that that 49% of kids ages 1 to 5 don't eat one vegetable in the average week. And so the question is, how do you get kids to eat more vegetables? And this has been a problem that's been notoriously difficult. One of the programs that has had some success are school-based gardens. And so, there are a lot of school-based garden programs, and they indicate that kids will end up knowing more about vegetables. They might be more inclined to eat vegetables in the school cafeteria. They'll eat a greater variety of vegetables, but none of them have indicated that kids change their diets at home. So in the last 5 years, we have given 92 box gardens to area children. We fill them with we build them with them, with the families. We fill them with a special soil mix. We give them seeds and seedlings, and a book called Square Foot Gardening with Kids. And our indication are that, they have a good time. And some kids end up eating more vegetables. I just have a recent testimonial from one of our kids. If I can give that out, maybe it might be better. But what we believe is that this might change a kid's diet. And so for the years 2024 and 2025, we're going to do a scientific study. And in 2024, we're going to put a box garden in the home of every child at the grade 1 level in the Coquille School District. And that's 63 boxes. And we're going to help all the families build the boxes. We're going to give them the soil mix and the seeds and seedlings and the book. And we're going to do this 1 month before the end of school. So on May the 11th, we're going to build the boxes and fill in the soil mix, plant all the seeds and seedlings. And then for 1 month, we're going to have the teachers do a curriculum around that garden. We're going to put more services into those classrooms in terms of, the Master Gardener program and the SNAP Ed educational program. And then at the end of the school year, we're going to deliver all the boxes to their homes and have them grow vegetables. And then we're also going to do a study. So we have the OHSU Rural Campus students, and they're going to do before, during, and after dietary questionnaires by telephone of the families. Now, in 2024, the gardens are going to be in the Coquille School District, and Reedsport School District will be the control group at the grade 1 level. But in 2025, we're going to put the same program, about 45 garden boxes into every single child's home at the grade 1 level in Reedsport, and then Coquille will become the control school. And we're again going to do the dietary questionnaires. We have the OHSU rural faculty to help us with the statistical analysis. And if we demonstrate an improvement in children's diets, we're going to publish. And we're hoping that, by doing so, we may change the dietary habits of children across the entire country. And it's my belief that this is important, because what it does is it changes how people relate to plants. And my belief is that people for millennia have gone out, picked something off a plant and put it in their mouths. And this is what we're trying to encourage, that type of behavior in the kids. I was telling Missy that that there was a problem in one of the garden programs in Coos Bay, where the kids would just eat the lettuce plants immediately, and they couldn't, so they give them a lettuce seedling and then it would immediately just get eaten right down to the ground. And we want them to do that. So we're going to grow tons of lettuce plants, tons of seedlings. Every time they eat it to the ground, and just, hey, well, plant another one. Because we believe that that kind of behavior is what we need to do to change kids' diets in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll bet Mrs. Watts was excited she could be here this Wednesday.
I'm behind the scenes, the first grade teachers are the ones who are doing all the work. Ms. Russell has allowed this to happen, and they're teaching, so we appreciate them the most. Great, thank you.
Well, I'm kind of excited that we're getting involved.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity.
Peach pits.
All right, well, moving on in the reports, Deanna Prater, Director of Infection Control, Employee Health and Safety at Lower McCall Hospital.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi. This isn't as exciting as Dr. Shimo's presentation, but thank you. I'm Deanna Prater, and some of you may know my mother-in-law. She worked for the school district for a really long time. So yes, I'm related to Ruth Prater. I've been at Lower Upper Hospital for just a little over 3 years now. And in the past 2 to 3 years, we're really establishing our local regional relationships and working on our emergency preparedness. So, and that involves just plans for transportation, supplies, and that brings me to why I'm here today is the memorandum of understanding just for alternate care sites with the school district, that if we would have an emergent situation in the area and we need to establish some care areas outside of the hospital district, that the school district, that we've had these conversations and we have a little bit of understanding, at the same time knowing that if we had a serious event happen during a time when students are in school or on the premises, that is your priority, and we certainly get that. So that's why I'm here this evening.
We discussed this last month and you had some suggestions. Deanna has addressed all of those suggestions, and I'm happier now with the language I see. I did have a few questions last month. I think all of you raised those questions, and so Deanna is working on her end, and at this point, it's probably ready for approval if that is the board's inclination.
Has everybody had a chance to look this over?
It doesn't require action, just we'll get it signed off, and the indication that you want it signed off to be sufficient.
We can just do this with the signing of the MOU.
If you got some support from the board members, you just a quick thumbs up is fine.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll get an executed copy to you
Okay.
shortly. Thanks, Deanna.
Okay, moving down to reports. Kelsey Bard, the CPA for Newton, Davidson and Company, our audit presentation.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Okay. So I'm Kelsey Pardon. I work.
That's the account that doesn't show up in person though.
What?
Just happy to see you.
Okay. So I am Kelsey Pardon. I worked on your guys' audit this year. I'm the partner that was in charge. So I'm just gonna go over the audit report for you guys, and kind of just do a big summary of what we came up with this year. So I'm just gonna scroll through the audit report itself. So on page 1 of our auditor's report, we just have basically the summary of our opinions that we came up with for this year. So we have an unmodified opinion. An unmodified opinion is the best opinion that we can give to you guys. So basically in all aspects of our audit, we came to the conclusion that your financial statements are in compliance, and there's no material changes that we needed to make throughout the audit. So if you go to page 4, that's the management's discussion and analysis. That basically is just a summary of all the changes from the previous year to the current year that the management is discussing. I'm not going to go through it. It's just kind of touching on key points to look at from the management's perspective. Page 8 is the statement of net position that shows all of your assets and liabilities for the year, and that's in a accrual aspect. So you've got like you're incorporating some of your liabilities, which are like the PERS liabilities for the year, which is not, I mean, it's basically not like a cash perspective. So things kind of look a little different. On page 9 is your statement of activities. So if you look at the statement of activities, the first column is your expenditures. So you guys had a total expenditures for the district for $13,570,643. And then that shows all of the operating grants that were contributing to covering those expenditures in the next 2 columns. And then on the bottom half is just the general fund revenues that were there to support that those expenditures as well. So at the end of the year, you guys had a change in net position of a loss of $1,670,611. So if you go to page 10, that has the breakdown across all of the funds. You have your general fund your special revenue funds, your debt service funds, and then your capital projects funds. So your total assets in the general fund are $2,291,897. And then in the special revenue funds, you have $2,044,214. A thing that we noticed when we were auditing was that there was a lot of accounts receivable at the end of the year. So basically there were a lot of expenditures that had to be claimed at the end of the year. And so there was a big receivable of 1.5 million in the special revenue funds. So if we had gotten those claims in a little bit before the end of the year, you guys could have had those funds come into the bank account and you could have gotten some interest on that. So we would encourage for next year to make those claims before the end of the year so that we don't have that big receivable in the special revenue funds. And then everything else was pretty straightforward for the balance sheet. If you go to the next page, or go to page 12, that shows the breakdown between the of the profit and loss for general fund, special revenue funds, debt service fund, and then the capital projects fund. We always pay attention to the general fund. And what we like to look at is to see that the fund balance in comparison to what the total expenditures were for the year. So the ending fund balance was $1,029,727, and the total expenditures for the year were $9 million. So if you look at that, in comparison to the fund balance, you have about 10–11% to cover expenses if you had no revenue coming in. We like to see it more at like 20%. So we would encourage that the ending fund balance for the general fund was a little bit higher, that spending was a little bit less. I know that there was an issue with the state school funding where we had to pay back basically funds that we thought were going to be coming in to cover those expenses. So this is kind of a weird year. But I know that the budget for the beginning of this year was 1.8 million, and we have that 1 million. So there's an $800,000 difference. And I know that that's from that discrepancy from the state school fund. So if you go on to page 14, we've got the fiduciary funds that has your actual to budget. And then we go on to the notes to the financial statements. That goes all the way to, we've got page 46. Those are just, it goes into each part of the balance sheet and the profit and loss for you guys for the year and talks about a little bit more in disclosures and then like budget to actuals. Then we have the required supplementary information that shows the breakdown between the actual to budget for the general fund, the special revenue funds, and then the capital projects funds. And then if you keep going to the back of the audit is our reports. So you guys qualified for single audit, mostly due to the fact that you had a lot of ESSER funding coming in this year. So if you have over $750,000 in federal revenues, you are required to do a single audit. So we just have to pay more attention to what is being spent with those federal funds. We didn't find any issues with what was being spent. And we just kind of have to pay a little bit more attention to certain areas. We tested the ESSER funding specifically. And then our last part of the report is the Oregon minimum standards. Oregon, you're required by law to be in compliance for certain aspects of the audit. We look into see that you've done the budget correctly, that you're insured correctly, that the state school funding is being calculated based on the correct standards. We didn't find anything that was out of compliance for that. So I think that is, oh, there was one other thing. We noticed that the allocation for the debt service fund was not covering the full payment. So I talked to Rachel about this. She's going to make sure that we're going to put enough money for the tax levy to get the funding for the principal and interest payments in that debt service fund. So that was just one other thing that we noted on our audit. So that was it. All in all, we had an unmodified opinion and a good audit this year. So if you have any questions for me.
Was that shortage on that last fund is that something to being along? I mean, is this something we should worry about right now instead of next year?
It's something that with the debt service. Is that yeah. So that's something that we need to, it probably is going to affect this next year. There might still be a difference between what is allocated, but there was enough of a fund balance to cover that. So going forward, I think we'll be okay. We just didn't want the general fund to have to start funding the payment. So so going forward, it should be fixed by now. So
okay. And since we're a school board and we request this from all of our teachers, what I'd like to get is a letter grade. A being the best we can get, and F we don't even want to talk about. So can you give us a grade?
yeah, it's an A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Kelsey. Have a good
All
evening.
right. Thank you. You too.
All right. So now's your chance, Josh, to throw in your 2 cents on that. Were you and Rachel excited when Kelsey gave you that report?
I think Rachel was very excited,
Yeah.
especially excited to provide the audit she did this year. So, no, we're good. And as Chelsea mentioned, we know how to fix a couple of things she told us about moving forward.
Yeah.
So,
I had a couple of questions though on the stuff that Rachel sent me. And since I have hardly any paperwork, I probably lost that all. And I know we're running a little bit. On the report, one of my questions was on the projection for end of the year for salaries, supplies and materials. Why are we projected to be so deep in the hole on those?
so are you looking at this report right here?
Yeah,
Okay, and you're looking at the estimate for June?
yes,
What page is that?
I think it's page 4. It's on page 4 at the bottom.
So expenditures in June are always higher because we pay salaries for the summer months, all at the end of June and everything. So even though, teachers or classified, all of that are 10 months here, we pay them for 12 checks and they get 2 or 3 checks that month of June.
So why are you lump summing it? Why don't you break it down into the salaries and then supplies and materials and then that other fund? It just whatever makes it look a little worse than it is, really. I mean,
There's some closeout stuff that happens at the end of the fiscal year too. On June 30th, through the end of the fiscal year, things that have been encumbered, that haven't been fully paid for, or that we're wrapping up, we usually expect there's a lot of activity in the month of June to tidy up the books, because June 30th ends the year, July 1st starts. So the second part of summer, we start over, all the money's there, we re-encumber everything for the year. So June being the cleanup month has higher expected payments. Is that?
Yeah, across the board. It's a scary looking month, but it's all anticipated.
and another question I had is that same column. I'm looking at the payment on the Office of the Superintendent Services, communications and communication services, and systems analysis. And it's a total of about $25,300. But you look all the way over to the left, and it's those 3 different categories are paid with 1 check. you're look at the, look over the left column, there's one,
I'm not tracking for you yet, Carrie. Can you describe?
the column over there under general fund shows the check number. And it's, the check number is 25905,
Oh, yeah, what's the page?
page 4, same page as the last question.
25.9.
25905, it's the first three, columns, and it's all got the same check number for three different. Non-fees.
Education Service District.
I didn't find that anywhere else. I was wondering why that had the same check number for all three of those. And they're all different. There are three different amounts, 20,000, 3,500, and 1,500.
Yeah, let me pull that up.
General fund, the same way.
Yeah, it's the same. It comes out of the same account.
It's three of the same.
Taking just a second to pull up. Did you have any other questions or anything while
Oh, we're just getting started, cowboy. Sorry for you. That's what happened with rain all day. You can't spend time on the
Anything
ranch.
that we can't answer immediately tonight, we understand what the question is, we will bring back the answer to you, so.
Yeah, I tried to get hold of Rachel, but I couldn't get hold of her, so I had those answers.
And she's really kind of helping to transition Josh a little bit more fully into the role, so try to run things through Josh first, and then.
Well, that is, when I called down to ESC, they hadn't even heard of it. So I was a little nervous.
Who ran through the mill? Killer survivor.
Maybe you can give us your
You
phone.
got this, Josh.
Maybe you can give us your phone number before you leave, so we can call it.
I can do that.
One of the midnight calls, and you can't sleep.
Okay, I'm gonna have to track the invoicing and everything on that, so it'll take me a minute to find it. If there's more,
I'll tell you what, just leave me your phone number
okay,
and I'll try and get through to you tomorrow and go through this stuff so we don't. And then what we can do is I'll let everybody know if that's okay with you, is that what?
Yeah, that works for me.
But I know it's probably gonna be a thing where Josh is gonna have to do some research on it.
Some of these descriptors are vague enough that it's hard to know what exactly they're referring to, so.
And did you send out this before meeting or did Rachel, Josh, that you did? Thank you very much. I don't know when you sent it out, but
And Carrie, I'm noticing on the bottom of 4, it carries over the top of page 5. It says that totals for Douglas ESD. If I'm guessing off the top of my head on those numbers, you do have some contracts that we need to pay to the Douglas ESD. We would probably write them the one check. But the three services that we're getting there, we have our E-rate help, we have a contract with resources and some of our other.
I just found it. It was human resources, communication services, internet services. So since it was all to the same vendor, we can make the check out, but they were just to different account codes, which is why you see it in 3 different sums.
And then 25,931 looks very similar, so
Yes.
probably the same process there.
yeah, it came out the same. It came out the same fund. It was just the functions were different and I just didn't know.
Yeah, because, communication went to, internet services went to tech, HR services went to, office of the superintendent. So just a little differently.
So the checks for 25,905 and 25,931, they both total the same amount.
Yeah, because we pay them quarterly. Quarterly payments for the services that we're contracted for.
Oh, okay, and there's no date on this, is there, for those, when those checks were issued?
I could pull up. 905 was issued 12/1.
9931, 2591.
Nine three one was issued a week later, 12/8.
So a little later payment than the earlier payment. Catching up over the winter break.
Yeah, it was for the same thing.
Okay, you said they paid quarterly though, but these are a week apart?
Say again?
You said these are paid quarterly, but they're a week apart?
Yeah, the due date is strict. If they're operating well, I mean, ideally you pay it right away. Sometimes if your business office is busy and they're trying to get things caught up and they don't get around to doing some of these vendor checks, they know who has to get paid quickly and who they're just kind of routinely paying. And so I would worry less about the date on some of these, as long as our business people are getting those vendors needs met. Douglas ESD is doing fine with us. If they were saying, hey, we need it sooner, they could let us know. But if South Coast ESD business is very busy and hectic and not caught up, they're picking and choosing who they have to serve quickest and who they can get to. I can see one being at the end of the quarter and then directly paying out the next quarter. As long as they get the full of the year. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So will these functions be the same for Douglas CSD as they would be for South Coast CSD? Title subjects.
Theoretically, if we had HR services through them, we would use the same HR function.
Any questions for Josh?
Who is Soriano?
June 4th.
Oh, Jim,
June 4th is a big,
$82,000.
there's a lot of payments there. The big project is there's the Virgin, Big Jam, all the work involved in that.
Okay, thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
We'll move into the budget committee nominations, the proposed budget committee calendar. You had the proposed calendar in your packets. Everybody get a chance to look at that.
And for the budget calendar, the biggest part of it is the first and second budget committee meeting. Those dates are the most important dates for you guys to figure out. And then the rest of it is just publishing and everything. Rachel and I will have to line up according to those dates. So there's two options. If you guys like those dates, I think we'll still need to make a couple changes on here. But if you like those dates, you can either take action to approve as amended, so me and Rachel can get the dates right, or I can just bring it back to you next month with all the correct dates. You can approve it then.
So
It's 153 days, what's required by state? Student days, student contract.
what's in our collective bargaining agreement with our association.
So that has nothing to do with the days the kids have to be in
It's
school.
based, it factors in the number of hours, seat hours that a student has to have. So with 153 days, we have to be at about 8 3/4 of the hours in the day to meet enough seat hours. So the number couldn't be so small that we have to have such a long day. But the group long before us who negotiated 153 was the right number in a 4-day
To
school
meet
week.
that. Gotcha.
Yeah, so that factors it in. So the budget calendar though, I think you're talking about an adopted or a school district calendar. The budget calendar is, this is your first time, Bob.
Yeah,
Each board member will find a constituent in the community to sit on the budget committee with them. So with a 5-person board and a 10-person budget committee, 5 board members, and then 5 at-large community members. So finding a person that is agreeable to the work and to these timelines, if there are multiple people, we'd have to have some kind of selection process. I've never had a contested seat on a budget committee yet. We typically fall short, so if we get 10,
That's
fantastic.
the next up.
First one is May 7th, as long as that works.
I have a conflicting meeting that night.
Okay,
Why is it a Tuesday instead of Wednesday? That, you know?
they were just dates that I think carried over basically from last year. It could be Wednesday, if that works for everyone.
Yeah, I don't have any things scheduled for that day.
If you did a early afternoon board meeting, budget meeting, and then ran into your board meeting that night, we could follow that path this year with other projects. We'd have, I think Carrie Oldright's, her job in Florence may be the trickiest to navigate. I'll check with her. But at your pleasure to pick your calendar, and maybe a
Well,
model.
better for me to have it all one day, come early.
Then that'd be a day you're already in the district. But days that mean those are many enough days, it will be the 7th.
I think it's the 8th. I think that's the 40th. Is that,
So it's always the second.
yeah, it is.
I don't think
The 8th of
that
May.
will cause any issues. So that they're looking at Wednesday, May
8th,
May 8th.
just the next day.
Okay, that should be, yeah.
Wednesday, May.
Say 4 PM for the board meeting.
That gives an hour and a half.
I think that should be good.
In my experience, I think we've gone right about an hour. Budget meetings, especially the first ones, the
Hour 15, I think is about the latest we ever run. What, John, off the top of your head, do you know what our newspaper record is we're using now?
you can use 3 of them, because
Okay.
of the limited. We're in the version of what we use at the world.
News review and those are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple.
Okay.
We use the one in Eugene, but Rachel will use whatever we picked in our August meeting and make sure that, for Josh will, make sure his publications get out in the sources.
We have copies of this year's budget to review before we do the budget meeting for next year.
It's included, you'll see previous years.
Yeah,
I'm jumping in.
no, you're all good. Yeah, it will be there.
I mean, before the meeting.
Yes, I can get it to you beforehand.
Oh, okay.
Generally, we see them about a week before the budget meeting, we will get that hard packet
Okay.
of where we think we're at.
And so our cohorts will also have a copy, so be 2 copies for each board member.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My goal is at the latest to have it to you a week beforehand, because it is a large document, it takes time to review.
Right, right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I'll email it, but,
No,
I was gonna say, if you want something different, let me know, and I'll make sure to do a different way.
I want something different.
We all do.
Okay.
Budget document, you need to plan on the printed, the column.
Email is kind of vulgar language.
Getting those. Packets put together.
Any questions for Josh in regards to the budget committee nominations? for the budget process?
When do we have to have the nominations in?
Deadline really before that, you should have up to like a week before.
If
saying,
it's gonna be anything contested, you should know by our April meeting, because you should be able to tell a budget committee member ahead of time that they're on or they're off. I say, haven't seen a contested budget seat yet, but I would say the August board meeting,
April meeting.
sorry, the April board meeting, the A word. We need to have our budget committee members selected and ready, and if there's multiple people, we need to have a process to determine who will sit in the seat.
Okay.
All right.
It's contested, you.
Okay, let's move along to section F, superintendent report.
sorry, was everyone okay with the Wednesday, May 29th?
Oh, you mean May 8th?
8 and 29 as a backup.
For the back case?
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah,
What time is, never mind, I can look here.
4 o'clock for
4
the
o'clock.
May 8th.
Yeah. And we haven't set a time for the second tentative.
29th, if that works for everyone, we can set a different time, yeah.
You can pick a time for the 29th now, or you can pick it on.
Yeah, let's do it at a later time so we can kind of help.
We want 5 for 5, get you done in the first meeting.
So,
I was 2 for 2 last year,
Okay, so if they need a second one,
if they need us.
you can put the date in and time TBD.
Does the 29th work for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Did it for the bonus calendar, so that's all.
perfect. So then, yeah, are we gonna do an action on this later? Get it done now.
Yeah, you'll need an action item there. Yeah, the action item I, for an agenda adjustment to approve the proposed budget calendar as corrected.
time is May 20th.
To be determined,
Okay.
4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, but if we need it. 5, so if you want a meeting.
Okay, John, you're there.
Okay, so the principals promised that they would bring their academic data to this meeting and give a quick presentation on where students were at. Jerry Ewing is gonna give his first, and then we'll have Lucy Russell share what's going on.
Sorry, John, just for the board's information, I put the elementary report first. So you'll see that report.
In your
In your
packet, you'll see the data, make sure you have the high school, not Highland, but Jerry's handing it to them, so one in your hand is fine.
So this is our max data that measures growth between the fall and the winter, and we'll do another one in the spring. The first page is 7th and 8th grade math scores. And on the top, and the reading scores are on the bottom. The top score is on each category is the national norm scores, and the one below that is our students' overall scores from fall to winter. You can see the percentile goes from red, which is the lowest, to blue, which is the highest. On grade level starts at yellow. So our math scores are improving, especially in our upper level math places. And we have some improvement in some English things and showing growth. But as you see the red and kind of the peach color, those are the percentage of students that are still below grade level. And so we still have a lot of growth that we need to do, but we are seeing movement towards a positive side, which I find, helpful, but we still have a long way to go in getting the majority of our kids on grade level.
So Jerry, what is growth and achievement then? What's the difference? There's 2 lines, right? One's growth, one's achievement. So this one, what is?
That's like the nationals, and
Okay.
this is us.
This is.
Yes.
And the percentages are based on the 37 students.
Yeah, and however many students they have that took that test. And you'll see that there's one test. It's an upper level, I think it's a math class. They have 2 on page 2. Algebra 2, we have 2 12th graders in there, so it's just 2 students. The one above that's the 28 others that are taking it as well. So it breaks that by grade level.
So the 2 seniors and the 8 juniors in algebra 2.
So is this the same test in the fall that they take in the winter? See if there's improvement? I mean, same type of questions?
Same type, yeah.
it's apples to apples, it does consider the norming that goes along, because it is standardized at a
Right.
national level. So they have
Okay.
kind of expected outcomes for kids at the levels. Kids struggle with questions that will drop question types down to see where the student is successful at, and where they're not.
So the way I see this, in the 30th percentile in the fall went to 38th percentile in the winter.
The expectation of what they should achieve.
So,
Fill that. So continued work to be done.
One of the areas that we are looking at, and have a committee kind of get together, and we talked with Ms. Russell today, is the literacy component that our students are kind of behind on, and trying to find ways in which we can integrate some improvements and implementing some transitions from elementary to junior high and the high school. So we're trying to look at different things we can do to catch our students up in that.
So in the 8th grade, reading, which is the second one, right? So that's the reading.
8th grade, yeah, the second one down on the first page.
Yeah, on the first page.
Mm-hmm.
So we have no kid in green or blue.
No kid in green or blue. We had 7% in the fall, but we only had 19% in yellow. We now have 29. We had 42% red, and now we have 39%. So,
Just so
moving.
I'm understanding.
Yeah, let the kids move.
Any chance we can incorporate what they read on their cell phones into the reading program? Dang.
When Jerry and I got here, year 6, the first year you study, you observe, and you kind of see what's going on, what needs to happen. And knowing that we're school improvement status at the time. The second year that you start acting, what are we going to do? And the introduction of IRE and specific professional development for teachers to work at improving the instruction was interrupted by COVID. So our start year to get going was the year that we got interrupted in school. So we're kind of in our second year of trying to implement change and working with teachers to change the next outcomes we have for students, even though it's a 6th year. So I know, Mr. You and I, when we talk, are concerned about these numbers. I think that the steps that are happening in the building are the correct ones, and they're research-based, and they're being supported by outside groups to make things happen. We're just, unfortunately, still young in the work post-COVID, if that makes sense.
Jerry, do you see a lot of kids coming into the 4 o'clock for homework help or on Fridays? A lot.
More now than we have, and the numbers might be dictated by sports because they're mandatory to go. If they have lower grades in sports, they have to get up and they're mandatory to go to those.
Mm-hmm.
But on the overall, I think we're seeing a few more. Probably not as many as we need. You know, the students need to be going.
Sure. Sure.
What's that?
Sure, I get
Yeah.
that. You get that.
One of the things that we're looking to implement, not to get too far into the weeds off of this, is is implement a plan in which students can't choose to fail. In other words, that they're held accountable for their missing assignments that they do. And so that's something that I was trying to get kind of put in fourth quarter, but I don't think I'm gonna get there because it makes a big shift to standards-based grading. And we're doing a book study on standard-based grading, and we want to do standards-based grading starting next year. But the program is that the kid that has a mixed assignment, it goes into a online program. The parent gets an email and a text message. All of my staff, including custodian, anybody in my building has the list. And so then we implement, like the kid gets here at 7:30, you have to go to this room to get help. Your lunchtime, you need to be in here to get help. And after school, we can't mandate, obviously, that they stay after school. But if you're on the list, then there isn't very many privileges you have until you get off the list.
Can grandparents get on the list?
Well, I don't know if you want to be on the missing assignment list, but if you want to come in and help, I'll take all the help I can get.
I mean, just with the pressure on
Right.
the grandkids, yeah.
You're gonna give the evil eye, Bonnie?
Huh?
Gonna give the evil
I
eye.
would do that. Yes, I would.
So.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary.
Yep.
Okay, so mine is the horizontal one.
Yes.
Should have 4 pages there. One is Sharman, thank you for printing those. So we're gonna start with reading, and this is our most recent test, it's the winter. So what I did is I put the winter of 2023 this year and compared it to the winter of the previous year. So with reading, we just adopted a new reading program this year. So that takes a year for teachers to get used to all the different components of the reading program, including a lot of online digital sources that they have to become familiar with. And then there's just such a huge amount of resources with this program that they have to kind of pick through and find the specific things for that class and the things that are gonna help the class. Not all of the things there's no way to do every single part of the curriculum, so they have to pick and choose and make it fit their class needs the best. So with a new principal, with our instructional coach leading, like there's a lot of things that teachers had to battle with this year. And I'm very proud to say that they haven't had huge drops. We went in the fall, it was at the 41st percentile. And so there was about a 5% drop was all to 36th percentile. And teachers, that's all credit goes to them, just being masters of their work and knowing how to roll with the changes and the chaos that they had to go through. So good job for the teachers. The second page is the fall, shows where we started out. So this year we started out a little bit higher, which again shows from the previous year's work. They did a great job with their kids. They came in a little bit higher, about 5 points higher there. So that's excellent. And our red zone, which is those that are at least a grade and a half behind, we've lessened that by 6%. So that was a good amount of growth there in the reds.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So when are they tested? Are they tested into the new year?
There's 3 times a year.
Okay.
So in the fall, we try to get it in September, that first about 2 weeks of coming to school and getting acclimated, being back to school and routine and procedures, then we start testing. So it's about the second week or third week of September that we start that one. That's the fall one. And the one that we just finished, we give it about a week coming back from Christmas break and the holidays and stuff for kids to settle down. So that second week of January is when we started the winter window.
Okay, so then the red decreased or increased in the 23-24. So that's this year.
That's this year.
Right, so the reading level reduced, or their comprehension, is it comprehension only?
It's comprehension, vocabulary, fluency, phonics, and phonemic awareness, it's just all just reading.
Okay. Okay.
But we do have work to go into more details like that, so we can focus our instruction. If it's phonics, we can focus on phonics and grade level and all those things. So page 3, okay, you got it. Page 3 is the math, and this is a program that we're very comfortable with. It's the Eureka Engage New York Math, so they've been using it for several years, and it's been around for at least 20 years that I know of. Lots of schools use it. We used it in Idaho, so we had the winter here, we increased by 5 percentile points there from the previous winter, so that was great. And also our yellow being the on grade level, if you look at the yellow, the green and the blue combined, that higher group on level and higher group also increased. So that's good.
So the red and the brown are below grade level and above is yellow or not?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the fall is the final page. And it shows we stayed about that coming in the fall, we were about the same as where we left the previous year, where they started the previous year, they were about the same. It was 1 percentile, so. And then something else to kind of look at is that final column that says number of students. So for math, the number of students that we tested in the winter here was 293, previous year 292, so that stayed about the same. And then for reading, 292, the previous year was 282, so that's 10 kids difference points, so that was about pretty consistent those 2 years, so if there was more than like 20 points, it can skew your data, but it's pretty consistent, so. Any questions?
When does your quarter end?
So the testing goes.
No, I mean, I'm a member of the Masonic Lodge, we're gonna donate 2 bicycles,
Oh, okay.
but I haven't got, I talked to Jess, and she said, well, it's not, it's not here yet, but when is your, I need to know when your second quarter ends.
Just ended.
Huh?
It
Just ended.
It just ended.
The end of January, and so we're just starting our 3rd quarter now. But our assembly, and that's what you're talking about, is the bike donation bike.
Yeah,
Okay, that's coming up next week.
I'm just delivered.
Okay.
What did you have, your students? 2 girls, 2 boys, a girl and boy, or you're gonna? And then,
We had a lot of different awards, so the bike, I think it was just like 1 bike overall student draw name out, it wasn't.
Because some of them were just tall, some of them were just tall.
Yeah, so what we could do, I mean, rather than like purchase a bike, other schools I worked at gave like a certificate of a certain amount, and then they could go and get the bike that fits their body.
Oh, okay.
That's what we did for boosters too.
Yeah.
We just gave a, which is my down to Ace Hardware, so you gotta get your director to buy it, they pick it back out.
That might work a little
It's
better.
exciting too, because then they get to see the bike and be like, oh, I got that one. So,
Yeah, we're trying to figure out, some what color and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I think that, because I have meetings tomorrow night, I'll suggest that.
Okay, perfect. We appreciate that. That's really gracious.
I have a question, has either one of our principals shown this to the staff, these graphs?
Yes.
I have not, I talked about them, because I just printed them off, I was just made a administrator instead of a teacher. So I got to run mine off today. So I did bring it up with, our students in our assembly today, but when I have my next staff meeting, we'll go over those as a staff. The staff themselves have seen the scores because they can print their own scores from their own classes, but they don't get to see the overall big picture.
You know, maybe I'm talking out of turn, but if I was a teacher and I saw these graphs, it'd motivate me to go back to my classroom and say, let's crack a whip. So, you know, I mean, these guys.
It helps to focus what they do with their instructional design and lesson planning. When they know what the target is, they're working at, they know they're focusing towards standards, and they know with the testing, how we're going to measure on it, is they're going to work towards that end.
Well, is it helpful, I'm sorry, is it helpful for the whole staff to see the whole total picture in these graphs so that when they have upcoming students, they know where they're starting at?
Yeah. So we do it in a couple different phases. We have something called 100% meetings and 20% meetings, which is every trimester, we look at the data as a staff and make adjustments each trimester as to where our focus is. But then also at the end of the year, moving into the next year, we have a meeting where we look at the data and say, okay, those fourth graders that are going into fifth grade, here's what you guys need to know coming in. But yeah, there's a lot of collaboration involved in it, so.
That's good.
Thank you.
Is language usage, is that a foreign language?
Grammar, basically, is, yeah, writing and grammar.
Any questions for either one of the principals?
Thank you for making it a lot easier.
You bet, anytime.
I would try, I did it again at home, I'll pick up.
Thank you for presenting some extra material tonight.
Can I have one? No, I think Lisa's good at MAPS. MAPS is a new district assessment that I haven't been exposed to. So I have asked Lisa if she can look into just special ed, because I would like our special ed teachers to focus on improvement in our special ed. And if we can pull those numbers out, that's like what I'm making my goals on, is improving those numbers, because that'll help the overall too. So,
Good idea.
because I'm encouraging our special ed teachers to make goals in the IEP meetings to correlate with and connect with our MAPS assessments. So they're all connected. So
So are the special ed kids not included in?
they're all part of it.
How
Yes.
many kids are there?
We have about almost like 113 altogether.
Between schools, we have a high population.
We have 20% special ed. Yeah, it's very high.
All the administrators have part of their goals to improve academic data. And one of my goals from the board is to get academic scores improved. So as a team, that is a focused effort. And so presentations like this help hold us accountable, but they are holding themselves accountable. They are working with their staffs respectively and are trying to pay attention to the right things. They're all interested in student outcomes and what we need to do as a system to be sure that those can happen. It's the get hit by a school bus rule. It can't be just because we're doing something or it lives in our heads. We want to develop a system so that it will continue when we're not around to push it.
And so Corinne and I, something we've been working on is we've adjusted the SPED schedules to meet some of those higher needs. So like if a grade level has a lot of SPED kids in that particular grade level, we're making more time for the teachers, the SPED teachers to work with that group. So like one grade level has 3 time slots where everybody else has 2 because that's where the higher need is. So we're very collaborative on that process. And then HMH is our reading company, and they just merged with NWEA. So we expect that they will synchronize with the testing and the reading program. Will be a lot more fluid and supportive of each other.
NWEA, acronym for?
Northwest Education Association.
It's short for MAPS. There's all kinds of letters.
I'm acronym deficient.
Yeah, it's okay, so am I.
I had one more question, not to be insensitive, but special ed kids are being graded on this altogether. So are they testing at their grade level that you say they are?
Yeah, all students are tested benchmarking. So the 3 times a year, the fall, the winter.
And this is the
And
progress.
it's all students, yeah, they don't change based on, like, the skills are lower, the test isn't lower.
Okay.
So like at IEP meetings, we share the information on, this is how your child scored,
I
and we
see.
talk about it and try to understand it at a deeper
So the
level.
numbers really aren't being skewed per se.
Yeah, and if we were going to break it down to the individual level, we want to look at that individual scores. One thing that we try to track for when we're designing goals for students, if the typical student growth rate, a gentle curve here, or gentle arc, is just like that, we try to design goals and provide instruction in such a way that a special ed student, if they're starting at a lower point, have a higher rate so that they get caught up.
Okay.
The whole purpose of special education is to do additional things to try to get a student commensurate with their peers.
Okay.
In their academic.
That's the goal.
That's the
Okay,
So
great.
she tracks their growth rather than are you on grade level.
We want them at grade level. That is the
That's the
goal.
end.
That's
Yeah.
the
I
goal.
see. Okay.
But it'll be like, we want to grow this much in one
Right.
IEP year span. Like, we want,
In typical number, if that first grade is a year's growth for a student, then we want, that's 100% of growth. We want IEP student, we want to create the goals that we get 150% of growth for them, starting where they're at, so that they catch up.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
I have a lot, I'm sorry. Okay, student success. Okay. Annual reporting, student success app, has been around for quite a while, the SIA. We're continuing to use those dollars. Bring you for approval. We're putting in pretty much the same areas. They help us support some things that we would not be able to do otherwise. General fund dollars. So our school resource officer, our nursing, our school psych services, some of the extra tutoring opportunities we can have, like our Fridays. Those are in that pot of money, because it has to be directed towards helping students overcome the way we spend. We're not putting that against general teacher, regular classroom. It's extra things, and it helps us provide some extra things that we wouldn't probably be able to do just based on the money we get from the state. So that continues. So those grants will come along. The grant acceptance for 23-24. Last week, we put it into the consent agenda. The state called us back up and they said, no, we need to take a specific action item. So we'll see an action item for accepting this particular grant. It's the same one it was last month and the same one it's been for the last couple of years. It continues, and it's services we need, but probably wouldn't otherwise be affording with the regular revenue dollars that we have. Early literacy initiative. This is a non-competitive grant from the state. We are putting in for roughly $1,000. It's very prescriptive in how we can spend it. This year, because we purchased language arts curriculum, we're going to be focusing on paying for the curriculum with that money, the professional development for our staff that goes along with that new curriculum, and opportunities for example, summer extra literacy opportunities there. 80,000 doesn't go very far against curriculum and professional development, so that will pretty much suck up that money for the year. This particular grant was a big part of the recent legislative session that just finished. It's primarily focusing kindergarten to third grade for us. It's early childhood, so it's actually birth to grade 3, but it only impacts us kindergarten grade 3. They want to be sure that it's helping all students get raised up and improve literacy and reading for all 4 of the students. So I think it's going to be a consistent source of money through the years. It was part of what the governor used their platform to get elected. I don't see it going away anytime soon. So for the next several years, I expect we'll be using these dollars. As we get further along, they would like to see high dosage tutoring. They would like to see resources for parents be considered. And so there are other directions that the money could be spent. It's something we were able to access basically winter break. And so districts around the state are scrambling to put together their plans. We're fortunate with the curriculum purchase to need so much PD that it'll take care of itself in the first year, but we'll probably redesign this plan. Whereas the student success SIA money hasn't been overhauled very much the past few years. This one probably will get some overhaul over the summer as we kind of tease in what can we start doing that this plan allows to happen with the money that they're giving us for it.
So how, John, I might have been told and I forgot, but how is it going to be distributed, how do we, I know there's a 25% match, but what, how's it gonna be distributed? How much are we gonna be able to get, you know, as our district?
I think our all's right around 80,000, so a 25% match. We're just gonna go to offset some of our kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade teaching costs. All those people are teaching literacy. And so by the time we offset a little bit of that cost to qualify as our match, we'll be eligible for the full allotment that we're being issued. We're completing this, we have a budget still to turn in, and Josh and Lauren and I will sit down and get some input. And we'll tidy up the curriculum and the PD that we have this year, make sure those costs are covered, and then that'll, like I say, that how to suck it up.
Any questions on that?
Okay, this calendar here is a draft, and it is not an action item tonight. But I wanted just to give the board where we're at. We have input from the unions, they keep giving me little bits here and there, so we're taking them, fixing them. I think the last thing that we're kind of looking at is if you look in October, end of the month, the orange square on the 25th, that's the grading day. We're pretty sure that's the grading day. Following week, you would expect to have student parent conferences. And you notice that Thursday, the 31st is also Halloween. That would typically be a conference night. And that probably won't be a high turnout for teachers as students come to school, but they could be doing other things. So we're trying to design how we accomplish the conferences shortly after grading and get a good turnout, because we want to see the parents, we want to see the families. If we went to the week of November, did the 7th and the 8th on a long 4-day weekend opportunity, that was not a favorite idea, and we think we probably lose people there. We're probably looking at a one-time solution of maybe a couple hours the whole week of the 28th, 29th, 30th of October, and letting teachers work with their individual families to get conferences to happen, and then possibly maybe that Friday, November 1st. So as we kind of solidify what that is, make sure that people are otherwise bought into this. This is basically this year's calendar laid over next year's dates. The template fit really nice this year. It was good all the way. There's very few changes required. So this format is probably what we'll bring to you next month for action. You will have to approve a school district calendar for next year. It's a board decision. This is probably where it's going. We're finishing up some conversation on that conference, and when the other items pop up, we'll look at them. But both the classified and the licensed unions have been active in giving us feedback, and that's been very appreciated. So it's just, this is informational at this point. Statements of economic interest, unless you have questions on the calendar. Coming up March 15th is your 30-day window to file your statements of economic interest. You have until tax day, April 15th. My personal recommendation last year was call them. Do it over the phone. They're pretty helpful. I've never seen it online over the phone. And after you've done it the first time, you pretty much get to say no changes, if there haven't been significant changes to what's going on. So the first one's the hardest.
It's really slick.
Yeah, and they realized when that piece of legislation went through and all these school board members also had to do it, it was probably wise of them to make it helpful and for board members, because I don't think it was immediately popular when it first went through.
And if you pull up, it gets kind of expensive.
What?
If you pull up on it, it gets kind of expensive.
So this is just your early warning, and this is your first time. We can help you get contact number. Or you cover that.
And they have, I read it, but they have a number on it. They must have a number on it, letter.
Yeah. I think Charmin sent out some information. You got it in your email.
Just say no.
Reef asked me to let you know they've got their Jim Ockley Tall Timber Award Dinner, March 16th. at the MAC out of Winchester Bay. I'm not able to attend, Carrie can attend, both of us, I know, need some donations because just individually weren't able to be there. They would love to see the board members.
And we're going to attend.
Excellent.
I think you're going, Shivani?
Yeah, yes.
I always like to make a plug for both REEF and our booster club. I think of REEF as our academic boosters and our sports booster club as the athletic boosters, but they really provide a lot for our students. So as a board, when you can go show that you're there for them, those organizations really appreciate knowing that the school appreciates the hard work they put in, and both those groups are amazing on the academic and the athletic fronts for us.
Booster option program is April 12th, I believe, Saturday night, April 12th. And we're gonna meet it this year. At our last meeting, we had requests from Little Spring Sports to purchase about $14,000 worth of stuff. So
I'm aware of 5, so I'm interested about this.
Yeah.
You tell me later.
I'll get you a list.
I was approached by Wildflower Preschool. It's in Florence right now. They run a morning and afternoon set of preschool classes about moving the preschool program into Reedsport. And I was absolutely excited to hear that. We have a vacuum for preschooling and childcare here. So when somebody said they want to come in and open one, I was very much attentive. After some conversations, we're not going to be able to house a preschool program like theirs because we'd have to charge rent, and I just don't want to charge a large rent number to a group that I think Reedsport desperately needs. So I did put her in contact with LUMA, Lower Umpqua Ministerial Associates. So that's all the pastors and all the ministers in the area. And it sounds like they've got connected with the Presbyterian Church right next to the high school, Pastor Buck, and are going to be opening some preschooling starting in the fall. And that's also April registration. Their director will put out their flyers and their information, but it'll be nice to have preschooling since Jan Hill is done. And some other options for families who aren't in Head Start. So that's good news, and I'm glad that connection got made. Just an FYI, we're probably going to punt and not do our asbestos abatement or maintenance this summer, to instead use the money to replace one of the air handlers in the high school gymnasium. It is not fixable, and it's going to be a big cost. We're not going to be able to just afford it, but perhaps by not, we don't have to do asbestos. We keep waxing over it every year, but I think it's responsible for us to get it out. I've been trying to push to make it happen. This year, we won't do it affordable. So I think not that particular.
Is there a state requirement to get it out?
No, we don't
Don't touch it, it's fine.
Yeah, we're leaving it alone, and we're waxed over. It's something we always get into. It always becomes an issue, and then we have to do little small abatements.
That's because the people who are making money from it are pushing it.
It's one of those pieces. So just FYI, we're probably not doing that this summer. We tried really hard. We've made some progress. But the air handler is going to be priority for the heating and cooling system at the high school gym. And I'll just wrap up there. I've already kind of been yammering on for a bit, so.
Any questions for Joan?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Good.
Thank you very much, Joan. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. This is actions that are routine, or usually called for no discussion, such as approving minutes, previous meetings, acceptance of donations, and similar actions that often happen together in one vote by the board. I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the action item 11 consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved by Bonnie Brewer, second by Jack Haley, to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, raise your left hand. Unanimous. Thank you. Passes unanimously. Action items.
Chairman, now might be a good time to add a few agenda items if you want to consider them. action item H, approving the local service plan for the South Coast DSD. And action item I, accepting the proposed budget calendar as corrected. We need an agenda, a motion for an agenda adjustment to have that happen.
I'll entertain that motion. I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, go, what was it again, John?
To add action item H to approve the local service plan for the South Coast ESD as presented.
Okay.
Action item I to accept the proposed budget calendar.
Yeah.
As amended.
Make a motion, we accept South Coast, yes.
No. Action item. Action. Thank you. Second,
Second.
moved by Mr. Daly, seconded by Mr. Brewer. All in favor, raise your left hand. Anybody opposed? It's unanimous decision. Thank you.
So now those are on your agenda.
Thank you for reading the meeting. Okay, now let's go back up to A, dissolution of the charter school 712. This is in absence of an original charter board. The Reed Sports School Board will take action on the dissolution of the 712 charter school.
So the only charter board member in attendance is Mr. Euling, of the remaining, surprise. And then the rest of the school board here is the acting charter board. So you would need to have 5 yes votes in order to dissolve the 712 charter school, which we thought we had previously taken care of 2 years ago, but we're needing to finish the paperwork correctly. So I propose a roll call of votes to get who's saying yes, and you need 5.
Sharman, are you able to hear us? We're going to take the roll call vote for the dissolution of the charter board.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, in this vote, Chairman Brewer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman Daly, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman Warren, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman Euling, how do you vote?
Yes.
And the board chair will vote yes also. Mr. Jones.
You've got 5. It's dissolved. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll finish filing paperwork. The 23-24 SIA grant award. This is receiving money for our SIA grant. We have to take action if you want the money. I would recommend that we accept this grant as provided in your packet.
I'll entertain a motion for acceptance of the grant.
I make a motion to accept item B under action 11 or 12, action item B, that we accept the 2023-2024 SIA grant number 34523.
Moved by Chairman Brewer, seconded by Chairman Warren. All in favor, raise your left hand. Approves unanimously. C.
Okay, so after the presentation, albeit brief, on the early literacy grant, I need an action item to approve our application for it, and we'll finish submitting it. It's been submitted, we're finishing the budget, but I need the action item to show that the board has approved the application.
Entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the application for the 23-25 early literacy success ELS school district grant.
A second.
Second.
Been moved by Chairman Warren and seconded by Chairman Daly. All in favor, raise your left hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Last year was our first year doing this. We cannot give a senior their Chromebook a senior has a 4-year-old Chromebook that we would normally surplus when they graduate, we receive the items, we would surplus it with our surplus property sale. Last year, we offered them the opportunity to just buy their Chromebook for $30 when they graduated, rather than surplusing it. If they've got material and stuff that they've got saved, and they want to buy it, it seems like a good trade at $30 is market value. We get $30 of surplus sale, we're lucky. So if you want them to do that this year, we have an action item allowing that to happen, and then we'll communicate to the high school that seniors can do it.
Do we have to vote on this every year? Okay, thank you. I'd entertain a motion for the buyback for the Chromebooks for the seniors.
A second.
No, I'm entertaining.
I make,
Thank you.
we approved the $30 buyback for the seniors who would like to keep their district signed Chromebooks.
A second.
Okay, moved by Chairman Haley, seconded by Chairperson Warren. All in favor, raise your hand. Passes unanimously.
You were presented with the audit this evening. You need an action item to accept it for the year.
I make a motion to accept action item E, accept the audit for the 22-23 school year.
A second.
Okay, moved by Brewer, seconded by Chairman Warren. All in favor, raise your hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Policy KG was held over. It's on a third reading. Community use of school district facilities. The draft you see in your packet has some edits. At this point, with the edits, it comes with the recommendation of Chairman Albright, who had the interest in holding it over. So her concerns have been levied in the material that you have presented. If you move forward, you've got her blessing. If we need to make changes, we're going to come back to the fourth reading.
Has everybody had a chance to look that over?
Yeah.
I'd entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to accept action item F, 1, KG, community use of district school facilities update.
Second.
Been moved by Chairman Brewer, seconded by Chairman Warren. All in favor, raise your hand. Passes unanimously.
Okay, action item G, policy EFA is a new item. Now that you've done all 12 months and completed every single policy in the entire district, there's an update already to policy EFA. It's in your packet, comes from OSBA. These are based on legislation changes and rule changes, and they warrant change to policy. OSBA will tell us if they are required, strongly recommended, or optional. It's 3 levels, and this one is required change to the language. If we deviate from it, we're going to probably need to send it into legal to have them assess any deviations we're making. So the recommendation would be to accept the changes as presented through OSBA for this one.
Is there going to be any question or impact in regards to union?
So,
you know, with their hours or with anything as far as the teachers go?
and again, which part?
Because it's going to change the hours we're required, right?
This is the decrease. I think it's 180 right now, minutes per week, and that's dropping into 1. It's actually a little easier. Right now, we struggled to get enough minutes for the PE because we share the cafeteria space, and getting enough time because kids were having to double our 6th graders in there. 7th graders haven't had a problem. Our 6th graders was a struggle. They had to have twice a week to get enough minutes in their PE time. This change is an improvement for that, and it makes it easier for us to meet the requirements. So I doubt there's any problem.
Okay, good. I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Go ahead.
Make a motion to accept OSBA policy update, volume 68, number 1, August 2023, first reading, BFA, local wellness required.
Second.
Second.
And moved by Commissioner Moore, seconded by Mr. Daly, all in favor, raise your hand. That's unanimously.
Okay, local service plan as presented by Superintendent Peterson. Didn't have any questions, that's the same one with that, I would recommend you approve that plan.
Item
H.
Entertain a motion. Did anybody have any questions first for Mr. Peterson before we vote on it?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion then, please.
I make a motion to accept action item 8, local service plan by South Coast ESD.
Second. Second. Been moved by Chairperson Brewer, seconded by Mr. Daly. All in favor, raise your left hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Superintendent.
So it took us so long to get there.
And action item I is the last one. I would recommend you adopt the proposed budget calendar as you amended it this evening.
As it will be amended.
Pardon?
As it will be amended.
Yeah, as it's going to be.
Because we don't have a time for the 29th.
Time, and then we have to make sure, we'll finalize the publication dates.
Okay.
Entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the budget calendar for years 2024, 25,
That's what next.
Second.
amended.
Second.
You heard part of it. All in favor, raise your left hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Before we go into discussion, anything else, could we go into executive session for? Yeah,
Absolutely do that.
Okay, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move into executive session under.
We'll give you, please use on the top of our agenda, the last one D. And please use boy and D, boy and dog.
Okay.
And if we do that, Carrie, do you want to dismiss our administrators for the evening? We don't need in the meeting, I mean, Jerry's still on there, correct?
I've been enjoying one. Yes, that would be awesome.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Drive careful going to Florence.
I got some brown.
Ah,
I got some brown.
Since we have item 3 and 4 and we added item 5 and you got a patron waiting, we might move 5 first item executive session when we start. Good advice. Or it's,
I'm looking for my thing. I got so much stuff scattered all over the place.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Josh.
I'll follow up and get you guys my contact information, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
To rush to the hallway here.
break. Okay, on the agenda, very first Roman numerals there, we are in executive session. Yeah. We're gonna be in part B for boy and D for dog. And then materials were emailed to you for item 3 and item 4. Item 5 is being added in and we will see what materials are when they're presented. Okay. So Brittany, if the chairman chooses to do so, he'll bump you into the slot for going first.
Do I need to leave?
No, not yet. We'll verify. If he doesn't bump you in, we'll have to sit outside while he does on your floor, because you're right in front.
Okay. Has the recording been stopped?
It's not stopping, it's just muting everything. Microphone and camera. Okay. Talk, screen, video recording, yep. they're
Started
okay.
recording. Okay, thank you.
There we go.
Executive session, we'll now move into the normal board meeting. Is there anybody outside that happens to be leaving? So. Okay, yeah.
Just saying.
Since there's no committee, we'll skip over community comments. Unless you see something on the board, and I don't see anything on the screen, so board member comments. Oh,
None.
Jack, fine, glad you're back.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Can't wait, would you let us know when you run your first marathon after getting a new hip?
And my goal is just to start,
Okay,
just to
good.
be able to walk without moving. Yeah.
Future agendas, February 16th, OSBA Bonds, Ballots and Buildings Conference, Bob's gonna go to that, and Bob. March 13th is a monthly board meeting at 5:30 PM. We'll have under future agendas, we'll have another work session and an executive session will be to be determined, to be announced. March 21st through the 22nd, OSPI Public Relations Conference in Eugene. Sharman's going to be going to that. Of course, thank you, Sharman. April 10th, 5:30 PM, monthly board meeting. April 19th, CASA Children and Youth Behavioral Health Summit, Eugene, John, Lisa, Stacy, Schaefer, Bertrand, Corin, Ross, Kelly, Luck, and Sanders. Will be attending. I don't even know how many people. Then in April also, when is our staff appreciation?
Okay, you skipped one part. We can do superintendent evaluation stuff next meeting.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
We can punt that. Been a long night, a lot of stuff. Staff appreciation. We got feedback from the buildings, March 19th and March 21st respectively. So it's on the bottom page 3 of your agenda. Those would be the preferred dates. Can the board attend those dates? Want to verify, because that works way better for the buildings.
What is John?
Tuesday, Thursdays, March 19, March 21.
Oh, Tuesday, Thursday, that's perfect.
Tuesday.
19th and 21.
Yeah, Tuesday. What do we decide? Are we going to do the?
Charmin has sent out a survey and we'll get the what of it, but that'll be right after a March board meeting, so we'll know what we're doing and we'll work it inside out.
Baked potato thing went really well. But that's
It
just.
gives them an opportunity to sit down and eat without grab and go with
Yeah,
the thing. They're on duty and teaching and all that
yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay, next school board meeting, of course, is March 13th. And then again, be on the lookout for any information about the executive session, work session. And guys, let's remember that we don't reply all when we're doing email, reply individually. If you're going to reply to John or one of the board members.
I do, I've got that figured out. I haven't done it, I haven't messed up and done that yet. I'm surprised.
So can I ask one thing? It's about the
Right, you have to write it.
fundraisers that are coming up for REAP and for the boosters. What are those dates?
Those are REAP, one paper. REAP is March 16th, 5:30 social hour, 6:30 dinner. That's at MAC Winchester Bay, March 16th, 5:30. The sports booster auction is April 12th in the community center, right, Carrie?
Yes.
And probably a 5 o'clock start. I can't confirm, but that's
The doors open at 4:30.
Okay. When is it, what's the date?
April 12th,
April 12th.
April 12th is,
Saturday.
and what's the match?
4 o'clock, you know,
Marine
or
4:30.
4:30.
So over the little bridge and it's in the first RV park. It's a nice little meeting hall area that they have.
Oh.
Usually that type of stuff costs me about $500.
And then for that dinner, you pay,
$50 ticket, which is a donation and a nice meal, and then you can buy your beverages when you get there. And there's some items to hit on.
Let them know they'll be coming if you're going to read, because that's a catered dinner, so they want to make sure they have something.
But I think they sent it.
Well, it's,
Yeah, we already did.
They'll send them out.
They sent it in.
Yeah, they will. John's letting these tickets and you can use them.
yeah, I'll take two.
You and mom?
Yeah, me and my wife.
I might have to go buy a briefcase.
Yeah, if you didn't take it home, you had it.
I'm going to the roof there, right?
What's that?
I'm going to the roof there.
The room, yeah, pound air book. Well, my wife is becoming more of a hermit.
I'm trying to keep her busy.
Not liking people very much.
I'm sorry, did we close the session? I didn't hear it.
What's that?
Adjourn.
Did we close the session? I didn't hear it.
Adjourn.
I gotta talk to you first.